What's good, YouTube? Menasteel here, and in today's video we're taking down Expert solo battle number 4 of 5 of the Mega Shine expansion, which is Mega Gengar EX, one of the most hyped cards. Unfortunately, we did not get the support it needed to become like meta relevant, which is actually probably a good thing because its effect, if it were like consistent, would be like horrendous. Like the fact that Chingling is able to win games on its own. Imagine an EX that's swinging for 120 and just like shuts down everything. If it got ready too early, it would be a nightmare. Lucky for us, it's not that way, so it actually makes this solo battle not necessarily easy, but something that we could actually like beat. So with that in mind, we have to look at the deck that we're going against before we go into like how we're beating it as per se. As you can see, they're playing a 2-1-2 line of Gengar, which is ideally that means that they're just playing for rare candy. They have Licia to search only Chingling, the Ghastly from Mega Shine, which has 60 HP. So their only target with that Licia is the Chinglings. They do play double Lily, so that makes the Gengar tough to beat. They do play Sabrina and Cyrus, which are very competitive cards. On paper, this is one of like the most like competitive decks in sense of like how it's built, like what the idea behind it is very clear. They're trying to build up Gengar. They're trying to hold you from being able to use items early with Chingling, and then once they get to the Gengar, and our job is simply trying to take them down before they get there as much as possible. Luckily for us though, they want us to beat it with only psychic types, and the same Chingling that is helping them is going to be on our side as we play Togekiss with Chingling. Togekiss, if you've seen any of my videos in the past, especially any psychic only list, I love using Togekiss. It's one of those cards that I wish was like highly competitive in the meta. The fact that it can swing for 60 and then it goes to 120, and if you have Cynthia, it goes to 170. However, it has glaring weaknesses. Sabrina makes it reset damage. It's a rare candy deck, so like Chingling is holding you back. Yeah, so there's a lot of reasons why it's not competitive. It's just one of those cards or decks that since it came out, it's always been my go-to in these solo battles. But as far as the strategy goes, we definitely like locked in and just try to beat this Gengar. That's why you don't see Cynthia. Gengar, unfortunately, like I said, shuts down everything. You can't play any trainers once it starts swinging. So cards like late game stuff that are supposed to knock out the opponent don't really come into play or just don't work. We are playing our own 2-1-2 line, and since they have Chingling early, I cut Pokeball, and our only targets regardless are 50 or less. We got double Chingling and the double Togepi. We're playing the Togepi with 50 HP. So the double Licia is our Pokeballs. That's like ideally how we want to start the game. It's like a Chingling in the lead, Licia to start building up Togepis. So in the perfect world, our Chingling is stopping them from using rare candy. And with the help of cards like Rocky Helmet, we out damage their Chinglings. So our Chinglings are winning the battle because we're trading swings for 10, but the Rocky Helmet knocks them out. And then eventually they just got to bring out the Ghastly. They are only playing one Haunter, so ideally they don't find that Haunter, and then we just knock them out in one shot with Togekiss. If they do end up finding the Haunter, it's the fact that they got to get to 4 energies. What basically we're on a clock. If you're able to beat them before they get to that Haunter, I mean the Gengar with swinging for 4, we're usually good. And sometimes even if they get to that point, if we have the initiative and we're swinging at the Gengar first, we're swinging for 60, maybe sometimes the 110 already, 120 I mean. And when we swing to 120, even if they go with Lily, we're able to knock them out. But in the perfect world, we do not see Gengar. We try to take them out before then. In the gameplay, you'll see how we're able to manage that. Sometimes they just break. Most of the time, it's just that our deck is functioned strictly to just do that. As you can see, everything we're playing is just to play it early as possible. Licia's early game. Professors is just finding, those are just for consistency pieces, trying to find stuff. Same thing with May and Copycat. Lily is the one flex spot because after some testing and practice of my own, I felt like Cape does just as much as Lily in the sense of like it keeps us above the threshold of the 120 that Gengar is doing. The main reason I went with Lily is because if they hit us a few times with Chingling, then maybe hit us with a Ghastly or a Haunter, and then bring up the Gengar, our Togekiss can only hit him once and get knocked out. And Togekiss is at its best when it's able to attack multiple times, even if it's just twice, like the 60 into the 120 is very strong to keep the Gengar in range. But it did come up even in the video that you'll see, in the gameplay you'll see, where if they found the Haunter, we needed a little more damage than just the 60 that Togekiss provides as you're locking them down with Chingling. So I would recommend, if you don't feel like Lily's not finding enough use, or you need something else, feel free to put Cynthia in that slot. Being able to go from like Chingling lock into a 110 swing from Togekiss helps close out games a lot. There's also the option of going Cyrus. Like if you're pressuring them a lot early, they will retreat and like start like spreading out their energy and all that. Cyrus could end the game before they get to that Gengar. Again, game plan number 1, plan A is to beat them before they get Gengar, and plan B is, I think plans A through X are probably beat them before they get to Gengar. Y and Z is that if they get to the Gengar, try to get as much consecutive attacks as you can with the Togekiss. But other than that, there's not much more I could say. The gameplay shows it much better than words can. As always, if you have any further questions or or suggestions or anything that you have in mind about the list that I did not cover, put it down in the description below and I'll reply as soon as I see it. With that, thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing if this video helped you, and above all else, stay pro. Right, going second. Do we have... Oof. If this would have been a perfect going first hand, but it's fine. And Jesus, they just drew everything. Okay. It's not bad though. The reason we're playing Listia, no Pokeballs or anything, is because of stuff like this. Chingling, rare candy, not Chingling, Pokeball, rare candy. We do play still the one rare candy because it's obviously such a good card, but the Pokeballs, especially when all our basics are searchable with Listia, just feels like low-key a waste, right? So let's find the cards we want. Basically, all the trainer cards we have are stuff that we want to use. We would want to use early, because late game, or at least mid game, like the latest, right? Because anything late game is basically pointless. Cape is an example of a card that we just want now. So that way, when Gengar comes and starts swinging, we want to have as little dead cards as possible. It's hard to like guarantee, of course, but you know, it's something is something, right? All right. Everything going according to plan, really. All we need to do is find the Togekiss line. Copycat, Togekiss. Energy here. Yeah, we'll stay in, we'll stay in. Maybe a little greedy. But as long as they don't find... Hauntors are one of in their deck as well. The same way we're playing a 2-1-2. They're also playing 2-1-2. So if they don't find Haunter, they can never go from Ghastly to Gengar. I'll keep that information to myself, I guess. Okay. No fear from them, I guess. We have a clear line of victory here, so... Also, while we're playing Sabrina over Cyrus, because again, late game, Cyrus for the win is going to be very difficult to put ourselves in that position. However, oof. Here it's tempting only because... Nah, it's still the best play. Let's go here. We know that they no longer have the way to this. I guess this is where it's like, oh, maybe we could have won Cyrus, but... Let's go... Okay, two options here. We could go Chingling, stops a lot of stuff, but if we go Togepi, that 40, they'll probably just bounce into the back line here. Yeah, maybe the Sabrina was a little too aggressive because of now they just back out and we don't really have a way out, right? Although it does like stall them a little bit. Okay, they're using their Copycat. So maybe Cyrus wasn't the worst idea. Okay, they stayed in. Ridiculous. I really don't know what goes through their minds here, but at the same time, you kind of do, right? We'll go research instead of copy, or hard to say, right? Because copy will trade. I think I'll go research. Come on, Togetic. Okay. This does force them to not be able to attack with Ghastly. However, we're struggling to find the pieces we want or need, so that's not a good thing. And I'm not playing Cyrus, so maybe Copycat is not the way. In this next example, you might just see me cut the Copycat. Or they just let us win? No idea what just happened there. But luckily, we always do multiple examples. We almost got there. What ended up happening was that we just didn't find our Togekiss line, but we still won. Hopefully, the next game is a little more uniform to what we're expecting, right? So let's jump to example number 2. All right, for example number 2, we are going first. I'll leave up that first example as more of a choose your path. I don't know if the terminology I'm trying to find is essentially like perfect top deck right there. like that proved that Copycat might not be the best pick. Maybe instead you want to play the Cyrus. Cyrus would have let us win despite them like playing awkwardly. The other options are maybe you cut Lily for that. Like Lily didn't come up at all because we didn't even evolve. Maybe you want a second copy of Togetic or more ways to evolve into Togekiss, like get up the line. So we prevent just what just happened essentially is what I'm trying to get at. They do play Copycat, so putting this down is not the worst idea. However, I do want Rocky Helmets for the Chinglings, and I want the cape on the Togekiss line. Because they have, like, usually as you're getting to Togekiss, or as they're building up their Gengar, better said, they're like constantly poking damage at you. And you want to be like where either Lily or the cape keeps you above that threshold. Alright, perfect here. They do play Cyrus, but if they use it now, I think we're okay with that. So let's retreat back here. Again, there's a world, because of Sabrina and the way the Togekiss works, we rather these Chinglings go down as we get to where we want to be, rather than giving them a way to like decrease the damage they're taking, right? But in this case, we already got Togekiss online, ready to swing its ass off, right? Oof. There is a world though. Let's go research first. There's a world where, let's see here, what's... Like, if we don't go for the knockout, they swing into us. This falls. I don't know if y'all seeing what I'm trying to say. Like, without Haunter here, right? They're in a world where if this Ghastly swings, we're so ahead here. I think I have to go for that. Could even put energy here this time. Yeah, this makes it where they can't go into Gengar. Granted, if they go into Gengar, it's not that big of a deal. But they could trade this Ghastly right now without being able to evolve the backline. You see what I'm saying? Oh, okay. They played it pretty smart, but not smart enough because we could still lock them out, right? Go here. This is definitely a Copycat hand. Realistically, their best play was probably just to swap into this Ghastly and still attack or something, because what they just did was a basically they skipped their turn. Okay, now 2 Togekisses, and at this point, it's just wraps, right? Like I said, going first feels like, granted, we got lucky, we found Lucio that found us the Togepi and we were able to build up. But going first just feels so much more advantageous because we're able to lock them down with Chingling. Their Pokeballs right now in their hand are dead, their rare candies are dead. They have to find the one Haunter. Last time I said that, they found it immediately, but at this point, it almost does not matter, right? Because they cannot rare candy. The scary part is, however, that they already have a lot of energy on this Ghastly. But look, they're behind once again. All we really need to do is find Sabrina out of 3 cards, and the game is completely over. Otherwise, again, the same. We could just go Chingling. Tag it forces them just to find. They have to find Haunter in 9 cards there. Yeah, let's do this. Guarantee the Sabrina. And essentially now, they need to find Haunter, and they can't even swing with the Haunter, because if they swing with the Haunter, then they go down to 60, because I think Haunter's only 80 HP. Correct me if I'm wrong. And by correct me if I'm wrong, it's like, we'll see, right? But they can't even attack, and if they can't attack, they can't evolve, and if they can't evolve, we just swing with the Togekiss, right, for game. And just like that. The plan this time was just to lock them down. But you see, this is an example where maybe Cynthia's better than one of these cards, whether it's the Lily. I think Lily might be the odd man out, and the 2 capes just does the job even better, because it like preemptively heals. It still works when, like, whether hopefully I describe it, but basically, like, it works regardless. Like the capes are preemptively healing you, where you could take a couple hits from Chingling and stay out of the range of Gengar knocking you out. Because as long as you're able to get rally a few hits together, regardless, once Gengar swings, everything in your hand is dead. So it is very possible that replace Lily with either Cynthia to do that extra damage, so that this play where we just lock them down with Chingling leads to a way where we can knock them out, because we're only swinging for 60. That means Haunter is like out of our range, and we got lucky that they didn't find it. So maybe to avoid that, as you saw, we were able to see all our cards. I think Copycat does fit, is just swapping out that Lily for what you think is better. If you feel like Cynthia's better, do it. If you feel like you want Cyrus, do that. Like that one spot, I think is the flex spot. But nonetheless, the other 19 cards work perfectly fine for this challenge. Hopefully it works for you as well. Thank you for watching. If this helped you, please consider subscribing, and above all else, stay pro.